Bonjour chers amis et bienvenue à notre chaîne YouTube. Une fois encore, good morning, good afternoon, hello, depending on the time this reaches you wherever you are. I hope that you are well doing. So, welcome back once again to our channel. As I promised you in one of my previous videos, we are now tackling the trouser. In this video, we are going to study how to make a trouser from scratch. This is a tutorial. Welcome back. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not done yet. Be so kind as to subscribe, to like and share, and also to make us know your concerns or questions in the comments so that we may interact together and do something better. My name is Lwaboshi, your friend, and this is Lwaboshi Knit Touch Couture. I hope that you are comfortable, and I am also happy that you are watching our videos. Making a trouser is not complicated that much, but only it asks you a little bit of patience. You have to cool down, don't be agitated. So now here we go. The items we need a pair of scissors, we need a pencil if you are just tailoring, but for pedagogical reasons, I will use the markers so that you can see very well what I'm designing, because with the pencil you cannot see well. I also need a tape measure, a French curve. I also need this trouser curve. Mine is broken, but I'm going to use it. I also need a square. It's also broken, as you can see, but I'm going to use it also. We need one. And also we need this French ruler and a brown paper. So these are the items we need. I already taken my measurements on this sheet of paper. They are here. So here at the drafting stage, these are the things we need. So number one, I'm going to rule out the starting line. In the top, I'm also going to rule out the waistline. Then I will consider my full length measurements, and I'm going to measure from the waistline up to the bottom. My full length measurement is 37 inches. And I'm going to square a line, the bottom line. Now that I have my bottom line, now I'm thinking about the crotch line. The crotch line, you get it by dividing your hip circumference by 4. My hip circumference is 46. Divide by 4 is 11 and a half. So I'm going to measure from my waistline 11 and a half, and there I will square out my crotch line. I measure 2 points so that I can join them and have a straight line. So that is my crotch line. And from the crotch line, you go up by 2 inches to get your hip line. Others call it the fly line. The fly line or hip line, you just go up 2 inches from your crotch line, and your square line, you have your fly line. And then I'm going to label my lines. This is the crotch line. This is the hip line or fly line, and there the waist line. Now I want to draw or to draft my knee line. How do I get my knee line? I will measure from the crotch line to the ankle line. How do I get the ankle line? 2 inches up from the bottom line. You go up 2 inches, and there you get your ankle line. So the distance between the crotch line and the ankle line, You divide by 2, you go up by 1.5 inch, and then you'll get your knee line. Of course, this is if you didn't measure, you didn't take your client's measurement of the knee distance. But if you have it, you can just apply your knee line. So this is when you didn't take that measurement, you just divide by 2 your distance between crotch line and ankle line, and you go up by 1.5 inch. And there you get your, whatever you get is your knee point. You make 2 points and then you'll join them to get a straight line, as you see me doing. So there you square line, which is your knee line. And you can also label it, and here label ankle line and bottom line. I will have to add 1 inch down because my brown paper was short. I will add 1 inch down to have the hemming line. Now I'm going to extend these lines so that we can construct our crotch extension. And to do that, we are going to consider our hip measurement, our hip circumference, divide by 4, and then we'll square a line there. From our starting line, we will make 11.5 because that's 46 divided by 4. There we have our hip measurement. And we are going to draw a line from the waistline to the crotch line, 11.5. So now our crotch extension, the formula for the crotch extension, the front crotch extension, you take your hip measurement divide by 20. Hip measurement divide by 20. Let me set the light. Yeah, okay. It's good now. So your hip measurement divide by 20, 46 divided by 20, it's 2.3. I'm going to use 2.25. And that 2.25 from this hip, from the hip measurement, I will add 2.25. From the hip circumference divided by 4 plus 2.25. And on the hip line, I will go forth by 1/2 inch, and then I will make the curve which is the crotch curve. You can also make a diagonal, and then you make 1 inch just to guide you, make a good curve. 1 inch from that hip cross point. And let's see, we'll use this French curve, yes, to make our crotch curve. You can also draw it on a free hand. Just it depends on you. You just appreciate, you esteem what is good for you, provided you make a good crotch curve there up to the crotch extension point. So I think you have made yours. Mine is ready. Our crotch curve extension, I'm sorry, the space is not large enough, so somewhere the camera is not taking very well. So I forgot to tell you here that from the start line, on the crotch line, you must go inside by 1/2 inch. By 1/2 inch, and then you'll join that point to the point on the hip line, where the hip line crosses the starting point. So you see already it's a bit of curve, because the human body is not straight. It's not, yeah, it has curves. So this 1/2 inch that you have added here, you have to add it on the crotch line. And also, before we apply the waist measurement, we will go inside by half inch also. We go inside by half inch. As you can see, I've already pulled the pattern so that you can see what I'm doing. So from this now, from this bending line we have drawn, after entering 1 inch inside, we will apply our waist measurement. My waist is 36, divide by 4, it's 9. I will add 1 inch for zip allowance. I will also add 1 inch for pleat because my trouser will have a pleat. So that will make 11. It's exactly what remained. So it's that line going down, reaching that hip line point up to the crotch line. So now we are going to measure this distance from the extension, the crotch extension, to this point 1/2 inch inside. I mean, we measure now our from our crotch measurement, and we are going to divide by 2, and whatever we have, we apply it to get the center. Now we have the center. So whatever you get there from the starting line to that center point, you are going to apply it on the knee line and on the bottom line, and you are going to join. Mine was 7 inches and 3/8, and I applied on the knee line and on the the ankle line, and I joined. As you can see, I am joining up to the waistline. So here we have our cruise line. You see it. This helps us to have a straight trouser, straight from the waistline to the bottom. Now that we have our cruise line, we are going now to apply the other measurements. The knee measurement was 20. I divide by 2, 10. Now the 10 you get, you will divide and place 5 inches both sides of the cruise line, and you use your trouser curve. You see the way I place it, and you draw a line from the crotch line to the knee line, behind and in the front. I think you can see that our trouser shape is coming little by little. We are also going to apply the bottom measurement. We are taking the measurement, our bottom circumference is 14. Divide by 2, you get 7. And we are going to apply this not on the bottom line, but on the ankle line, so that we can have the straight, the same measurement from the ankle line to the hemming line. That will help us when we fold, our trouser will be matching. It will not have unfitness. So instead of applying 7 inches, I will apply 6 inches because this is the front pattern. Because the back pattern will be larger than the front, so I subtract the 1 inch which will be added in the back pattern. You'll notice that the back pattern is larger than the front. So it's better we reduce the front pattern to keep the balance. Now, I think you can see that our pattern is coming. You can see already an image of a trouser. I'm going to apply the same measurement which I applied on the ankle line. I'm going to apply them on the bottom line and on the hemming line, so that from the ankle line the trouser is straight. When I fold, there won't be any conflict. It will be folded perfectly. I'm sorry once again, the space, the camera did not show us very well how I am applying, but I'm just applying my 6 inches, 3 side by side, the same way I applied on the ankle line. I'm applying on the bottom line and on the hemming line. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, please, and to share and like, and also to tell us, to give us your feedback in the comments. Now I'm going to design my plate. I'm going to design my plate. I consider 4 inches from the center. 4 inches from the center. Then I draw a line from the waistline. I go 6 inches down. And then from that line, I consider 1 inch because our pleat will take 1 inch. Then I draw, that is my pleat. So now what's next is to cut. Because now we are done drafting our front pattern. Now we'll consider only half inch all around, half inch for joining allowance, and then we'll be while I'm cutting, I realized that I didn't slant, because normally we must slant 1 inch down from this from the waistline to the crotch to give a good shape to our trouser, because our body is not straight, as I told you once again. So now we are cutting. Now here normally I should also cut and leave half inch, but I will not cut this yet because I will need it when I am drafting the back pattern. So I don't cut here yet. I will cut later. Yeah, normally I should cut here, but I wait because this line, I need this line when I'm drawing the back pattern. Here we are now. I have placed my front pattern on the paper and I leave space up. I leave 3 inches. Behind I leave space at least 2 inches, and in the front also I leave 3 inches, because the back mat is larger than the front mat. So now I am extending the lines. I'm making the marks of the lines so that I have the same lines. I must have the same lines on the back pattern so that our trouser will match. The front pattern must match with the back pattern to make it neat, to make it also straight. So you're gonna extend your lines to mark so that you may reproduce the same lines. I have already made my waist lines, my hip line, crotch line, knee line, ankle line, bottom line, and hemming line. So after putting those marks, there is another mark which is very important to me. You see all the other marks I've already put, but now here on the level of the crotch line, this point where the crotch line meets the hip width line, I have to mark it, and I will also mark it. I also mark the same width, the same hip width point on the waistline. Then I can remove and now confirm my lines very well. As you see me doing, I confirm those lines considering the marks I had already marked. Yeah, I confirm the lines. This is now the hip line. I've already confirmed the crotch line and the hip line. Now this is the waist line. I will also confirm the knee line. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and comment. So now, from this point, the hip width, I will go up. What the camera does not show us is that on the waistline, yeah, I have already drawn that line. That is the hip width line. So yeah, there I'm confirming other lines also. Yeah. So now I come back to the crotch line. I come back to the crotch line because now we want to construct our back crotch extension. From this hip width line, on the crotch line, I will go inside by 1 inch. You measure 1 inch from the hip width line, you go inside by 1 inch on the cross line. But on the waist line, you'll go inside by 2 inches and you'll join those 2 points. You join those 2 points, as you can see me doing. And that line will go up. It will go beyond the waistline. So here we are going to construct we are going first to apply the measurements. Remember that my hip is 46 divided by 4 is 11 and a half. You are going to apply those measurements on the hip line and on the crotch line from this new line. Now the first line, we do no longer consider it. We apply this new line, which is slanting. You apply the hip measurement on your hip line and on the cross line, and you join those 2 points. It makes a curve. So now from our point here, we are going to make the crotch extension. Back crotch extension, the formula, you take the hip circumference divide by 10. For the front, we divided by 20. But for the back, we divide by 10. 46 divided by 10, it's 4.6. We'll consider 4.5 inches. And there you are. You make your front extension. And remember that you go out by ½ inch on the hip line and you draw your curve, your crotch curve. You draw your crotch curve. Make sure you draw it neatly, as you see me doing. You can also use your free hand, provided your crotch curve comes out perfectly. So on this same line, I will go up above the waistline. I'll go up 2 inches. There I want to have a perfect crotch, and it's from that point, I mean 2 inches above the waistline. It's from that point I will apply my waist measurement, which is 36 divided by 4. It's 9 plus 1 inch for the dart, that is 10. I will go from that point down to the waistline, 10 inches, and that will be my waist. Then from that point, then I join to this point on the hip line, and there you are. I have already constructed my crotch and my upper part of my trouser. So now I'll bring again my front pattern, and place it correctly. I will place it correctly and see that the lines are matching. Once this is achieved, I will consider the distance from my front pattern. I will measure it and get it. And whatever I get there, I will apply it on the knee line, on the ankle line, and bottom line, all around, so that it is the same distance from the front pattern. That helps me to keep the matches, and also my trouser to be straight. Some trouser cannot be ironed. When you want to iron it, it's never straight. The crews cannot go from the bottom up because the measurements were there was a confusion in applying measurements, you understand. So here I will add the same distance, and I see that everything is aligning. Please try to be professional and make sure everything aligns perfectly. Don't try to rush. Take your time, but try to do something perfect. So check again and again and be sure that everything aligns perfectly. If in the front here you have aligned everything, so in the back you can just consider the alignment of your mat and reproduce it on the back pattern. You don't need to add anything in the back. You just follow the same line as you see me doing. You reproduce the same line, because in the front you have already marked where you will draw your line, and then you can remove your front pattern and then draw lines joining those points. You join those points. Remember that here it was a curve, and you must place it the same way you placed it on the front pattern, so that the two patterns should match perfectly. Even there you have to consider the same curve. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So guys, here you are, you have your back pattern. You have your back pattern. But remember that here we were to add 2 inches, but we added 1.5 inches because the front pattern had its sewing allowance already. So we are going to add that sewing allowance, the joining allowance here in the front and in the back as well. We'll add 1/2 inch all around, 1/2 inch for the joining allowance. You add 1/2 inch for the joining allowance. So after cutting the back pattern, dear guys, I bring my front pattern. I want to check whether they match, because the crotch line must match, the knee lines must match, and you can see that even the waistline are matching, and then we can say everything is okay. Now guys, the next thing now is to trim out the waistband 1.5 inches. But before that, I will trim out this excess here, which I didn't trim before. I told you the reason. I still needed it to draft the back pattern. After trimming it out, then I consider 1.5 inches, which is the waistband, and we are going to trim out, so we remain with the trouser without waistband, because when we join the waistband it will add that 1.5 inches. So now guys, here we can say that we are done drafting. We still check and we see that everything matched perfectly. And now what is next is to apply this pattern on the fabric and cut. So guys, I've already placed my front pattern on the fabric, and now I'm cutting. I put these items, the iron and so on, to hold everything down so that the fabric should not move when I'm cutting. And remember that all the joining allowances were already considered in the pattern, so we are just cutting, aligning to the pattern. We cut aligning to the. So guys, I'm done cutting the front mat and the back mat. Then I place again my front pattern. I want to notch to get the marks, the ankle line, the crotch line, the knee line. You notch very well. These marks will help you when you are joining, to make sure that your mats are matching properly. Yeah. So you notch in the back side and also in the front side, on the knee point, on the ankle point, on the crotch point, wherever you find necessary. These marks will help you. So I'm going to fold considering the front pattern, and the center I get, I will mark it on the back mat as my dart point where I will put my dart. Now I want to project or to apply my pleat on the fabric because it's so far it was on the pattern paper. Now I want to project it on the fabric pattern. I consider this point and I mark it on the fabric, and also the 1 inch above there, and I will square lines from the 2 points to this down point here, and that is my pleat. And I will reproduce the same on the other front mat. I need this point, and I mark it on the other mat, and I get that inch and square lines down to that point, and voila, that's my pleat. I have my 2 pleats there. At this stage, I'm done cutting my mats, the main pieces of the trouser. Then I go to cut the waistband. The waistband, to cut your waistband, you need half, because you need 2 pieces. So on fold, the length will be half waist circumference plus 10 inches. Half waist circumference plus 10 inches. So my waist circumference is 36. Divide by 10, it's 18. Plus 10 inches, 28. So my waistband will be 28, but 2 of them, 2, each one 28. The width can be 4 inches, 3.5 can also work. So I cut my waistband 28 by 4 inches or 35. And don't forget to mark the wrong side. Whatever you cut, remember to mark the wrong side. So here I'm cutting my zip flap. I think these pieces will work for me. And always remember to mark the wrong side. I need 2 pieces, right and left. Zip map. So this also can help me have my pocket facing. I also need 2 because your trouser will have 2 front pockets. These are front pockets facing. So we go to the back pocket facings also. You need at least 4 inches width by 7. 4 inches by 7. Remember, these are the ones we'll use to construct our welts. So I will shape them. I'll shape them well for 7 inches. I have my width already. So here I measure 7 inches. 7 inches. They must be 7 inches long and 4 inches wide. So those are my back pocket facing for the welts, because we need other back pocket facing so that the lining inside should not show another color. That can be weird. So that color of the lining has to be covered by these pocket facing. These are the inside pocket facing. You need of course the length is 7 inches, but the width you need 3 inches. 3 inches are enough. You can even use 2.5, but better use 3 inches. Me, I use 3 inches. And once you've cut them, remember to mark the wrong side. So here you have your zip flap, you have your front, your pocket facing, your front pocket facing, and your back pocket facing, the bigger one for the welts, and also the smaller ones just to cover the lining inside. Here we can say that we are done cutting our our trouser fabric. You have your waistband, zip flap. You have the front pocket facing. You have the back pocket facing, bigger and small, meaning everything concerning the fabric we have already. Now we are going to cut. We roll this away, and then we are going to cut our pockets material. First, the front pocket material, you need 14 inches, about 13. The length will be 14 and the width will be 13 inches. 14 by 13, as you can see. There I have 14. So I have two of them, 14 by, and that's how they will be folded in the pocket in the trouser, you can see. So I want to cut the back pocket material also. You need 17 inches length and 7 inches wide. 17 inches length, they must be long 17 inches and they must be wide 7 inches. The fabric I have here is on fold because when after cutting there will be two. I need two of them. My trouser will have two back pockets. So we cut, and then I'm going to shape. I will consider 7 inches, and I'm going to shape my fabric 7 inches, and then I'm going to separate them. So there I have my two back pockets, and of course we have to mark the wrong sides. Always, never forget. So now what's left is to cut the lining, the zip flap lining. I have them. I will use this white fabric for the zip flap lining. And so guys, this zip flap lining can be considered as the actually last step in cutting, because after this we'll go to the seizure. Now we prepare joining, because before joining there's a preparation. We must siege our fabric. There are parts which needs to be ironed, and as you can see here, I'm done sieging. I also prepared where I'll place my pocket. I've already ironed stiff paper. So see, this is the waistband. I've already folded it, and when I fold, I consider that 1 inch. You see, from this point here to the fold is 1 inch. So the remaining part, ½ inch, will be used for joining. So these are my back pocket facing. I've already sieged. This one I didn't need to siege because the fabric has selvage. I've already placed stiff on these back pockets, on this back pocket facing. On this zip flap also I put. Now you note that while sieging, I only consider those parts which will be visible. It's where I siege. Wherever it's not visible, like this part which will go into the waistband, I didn't siege. Down here in the bottom also I didn't siege because the fabric has selvage. You can also consider these front pockets facing. I siege all around but not the upside, because this upside, yeah, you see all around, but this upside will be hidden in the waistband, so you no need to siege there, so I didn't siege. So guys, thank you for watching. This is where we stop from in this video. Next time, now we'll see how to join step by step. As I told you in the beginning, guys, Pant is not complicated as you can think, not that much, but only it requires you to be patient, to cool down, don't be agitated. Just it requires care and attention, and you'll see that everything is simple. So don't forget to subscribe if you've not done yet. Don't forget to share, to like, and also to come in the comments if you have questions. Next time, now we'll start by the front pockets, how to construct them, and we'll go forward. Thank you once again. Let's meet next time, the soonest. Bye. I love you. Je vous aime.